And we are cooking. My brother Joey. What's going on, my man?
My man, thank you so much for having us. Appreciate it. Just another Monday. Everything's been a blur, but whatever.
Man, look, it's crazy. Of course, I'm gonna give the quick disclaimer for those that are just now tuning in. Welcome back to One-on-One Profiles in Audacity. You see the title. It is the Mobile Cigar Lounge. If you haven't heard about it, you're gonna hear about it today. On the bottom, you see the ticker. If you see this, comment your branch of service and the years you serve, because whether you see it on our page or Joey's page or the Mobile Cigar Lounge page or wherever you may see this, type down. Let's have a conversation. We want to be able to check you out and do stuff. But Joey, take it back. Let us know what branch of service you serve. Let us know a little bit about you, and then we'll kind of get to the present.
Oh, awesome. I served 6 years in the United States Marine Corps from 2005 to 2011. Went to Iraq in 08, 09, and Mongolia and Norway during our time there. But currently living in New Jersey. So that's a little bit about who I am, but I'm sure we'll break it down.
Yeah. What did you do in the Corps?
So I was in 0311. I was in the infantry, so basically the equivalent to 11 Bravo.
Okay. And then you did your service, did your deployments, did your tours, came out, and now we've met through Clubhouse. We've talked about on many of these shows that we've done, and I'm saying that because there's a testament here to what Joey and I are doing. We're literally collaborating and doing amazing things, but the key is there's a similarity between us. Now, I've always said it. You see the hat, you see the shirt. Army is where I'm at. Joey's representing for the Marine Corps. But I always talk and say, I also am a graduate of the Marine Corps Command and Staff College, so the Marines always have a place in my heart. Spent the year in Quantico, so look, they're my brothers and sisters all day. But there's a commonality that we have where we might have left service. We might have had some setbacks after service, but Joey is a go-getter. Don't get that twisted. With the amount of collaboration that me and Joey have been able to do and meet people, it started in Clubhouse, meeting, talking, an app with just voice and no video. Fast forward to now, we are literally lining up people to talk to that is going to blow people's socks off. So stay tuned, because you're going to see some Joey and me doing some fun stuff. But talk to me, Joey, about what is this Mobile Cigar Lounge? Because, I don't want to discredit, the journey from service to now, but you're doing some amazing things. And, obviously many of us in service, I could tell you, first cigar I ever smoked, I want to say, really was in country. We got a care package. They sent us one out there. I had, some friends that had a lounge. So, those that know are into the world, right? They have some cigar lounges you go, and they're kind of like a good, kind of club, right? Like you have to be kind of part of the club, and you get that kind of vibe, like it's a secret club. You got to be invited, right? Kind of like Clubhouse. But you're mobile. So talk to me, Joey, about kind of where you're at with this stuff and the amazing things you're doing.
No, well, DP, before I start, tell me about a little bit of this club. Was it just kind of like a nice hangout, camaraderie? Like, what kind of words can you describe it with?
Yeah, so the club I belonged to in New York was called Three. It was three. Three I forget the name. It was like an Italian spot, so it was three something. So like Three Brothers or something to that effect. So I don't want to butcher the name, but nonetheless, so the Three Brothers, Cigar Lounge, and it was cool because it was an Italian restaurant. It's still there, I think, in New York City, and it was on top of a restaurant. So the owner owned a restaurant, and New York City was notorious for no smoking. Where he used to live upstairs on top of the restaurant, he turned into the cigar lounge. So literally, it was one of those things where you'd go eat downstairs, and then the guy's name, the owner rather, he would kind of bring us out. So we had gone in there after working. I was on recruiting duty during this time, so we were in uniform, and we were downtown Manhattan, and it was like, hey, let's get some chow. Italian restaurants here. You know how it goes, right? It's like, hey, what do you guys want to eat? And we're like, Italian. We walk in there, the owner comes over, and he's just like, hey, thank you guys for your service. We walk in, the walls decked in, patches and all kinds of stuff. So we're like, okay, they're pretty military friendly here. The owner's like, hey, when you guys are done with your food, come upstairs with us. so and so in the back will bring you up, and I'm like, back in my mind, I'm like, yo, what is happening? Like, this is some real mafia stuff, because older Italian guy comes out and he's like, hey, talk to Joe over there by the corner. He'll take you up when you guys are done. Back in our mind, it's like, yo, they're like, yo, DP, what did we get into back in that day? It's like, yo, Sergeant P. Like, yo, Sergeant P, what did we get into? I'm like, I don't know, but I would follow the guy's suggestion. So hey, tight formation if we're gonna find out what's going on. But they're really nice.
It's like y'all got cash, right?
Exactly. Everybody got cash. We're not dipping on the bill here. And what was cool was, because of all the patches and things that we saw, it was like, wow, this is okay. Like, you put it at Eddie's. So we literally go ahead and head upstairs to the back, and the guy's like, hey, follow us. We walk through the back. You've ever been to like one of those New York City buildings? We're walking to like a small little hallway. We go up the stairs, and it's just like, what is about to happen here, right? This is nothing good. Sure as shit, we walk in, mahogany, freaking, little cubbies, and they're like, what's going on here? Like, hey, put your stuff in here. You don't want to carry it with you. We walk in, they got sofas decked up, a pool table is there, TV with sports things playing, and it's like a really nice area. So consider like a studio apartment, right? But it's redone now to where it's just sofas, chairs, and obviously cigars everywhere. And there's a bunch of older gentlemen kind of sitting in the corner. They see us, cups go up, and you're like, what is happening? So at this point, of course, it's like, we are definitely too early to the party. We're still on duty. We got to get back to work. And the guy, greets us, and he says, this is your home. Whenever you guys want to come, you're always welcome here. No fees or anything. Thank you for your service. And we're like, what is going on here? And it was literally a full-blown cigar lounge, and they're like, okay, come over here real quick before you guys leave. Me so-and-so, he's over here working at City Hall, and all this stuff, and you're sitting there like, yo, what is going on? A whole different world. But it was awesome because they really embraced us as veterans, as servicemen at the time, let us in. We were there for a little bit. We made a point to come back, obviously, at another time, because it was more like a meet and greet, and we had the bookie. We came back another time. It was great, kind of sat there, met folks, talked a little bit. Right after that, deployment time came, and before we left, we kind of stopped by saying, hey, just so you know, because we pop in there like once a quarter or so, just because we was in the area. And he said, hey, give us your address, let us know where you're at. I want to send you a package in country. And sure as shit, he sent us a whole package. And because every time we would be in the area, right, we never really got a chance to hang out at the lounge, is my point, right? So when I say it's the first time I smoked, it was in country, it was because literally it was not, I was not gonna sit there and smoke a cigar and have a drink, because we're on duty, and that was far from the house, so I never really got a chance to go there on my own time. So we always kind of would pop in out of just getting dinner, and they always say, hey, remember, you're always welcome. And we pop in and say hey and kind of leave, but never got a chance to really just be there. In country, fast forward, we get a package. He sends us this amazing package. Everybody has something. Of course, now we're the VIPs. Like, yo, DP, you hooked it up. Yeah, and it was a great sign. Got back from country. I'd pop in every so often. He passed away, sadly, due to cancer. But it was the first experience I had to a cigar lounge. And it was a whole different world for those that are not privy to that culture, that vibe, where you'd go in there and it's just, a good feeling of being around individuals that you wouldn't normally be around, but you got the chance to just break bread, smoke a cigar, have a drink if that's your thing, or if not, just kind of sit back and have a soda. Whatever it was no pressure. Like, some folks would come, have one cigar, and then they would leave. Or some would just come, catch up on stuff, and they would leave. But it was great because it was chairs, TVs, they had a pool table, people would be catching up on stuff. The youngins would be asking the old cats question, the old cats would be telling the youngest how it used to be. Let me tell you about my time in service. Let me tell you about Nam. And you're like, oh, man, get out of here with that noise. You ain't went nowhere, But it was good because it was a vibe, man. You don't get that a lot of places. So that's my, experiences with a cigar lounge, which again is interesting, where we kind of connected and what you're able to do on your side. But that's basically some of my experiences.
Well, DP, thank you for answering the question. That's exactly why I do it. That's exactly why I do it, man. It's about the experiences. It's about that camaraderie. Like, we're choosing a lot of the words, just listening to your story. I feel like you could easily remember everything from the wall, the smell, how you felt during that day. So going back to your initial question, why the Mobile Cigar Lounge? It's what we like to say is the cigar is just the vessel, and the opportunity is the experience. And I wanted you to say your story because I knew that you smoked cigars, but I really didn't know about that particular story. But How long ago was this?
Oh, man. That was easily about an easy 10, 12, or 14 years ago. Like, it was yesterday.
That's why I do it. That's why I do it. It's about the experience. So, essentially, what the Mobile Cigar Lounge does is we create beautiful experiences and then turn them into unforgettable memories over a cigar. And just hearing your story is exactly why we do it. Going back to the cigar, it's just the opportunity to be there. Like you going to that restaurant and you getting that experience, meeting the owners, but you going upstairs, that was all fundamentally all because of a cigar. And now I don't think, would you ever remember the cigar that you smoked? Do you remember your first cigar?
No, not at all. I couldn't tell you what it was or what brand or anything. I'm sure they told me what it was, but the experience by far trumps the actual details.
But can you remember the people you smoked it with?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's why you do it, my man.
Yeah.
This is why we do it. And what we like to say is you might not remember the cigar that you smoked, but you'll always remember the people you smoked it with. So I love hearing your story. I love hearing either story because that is so powerful. Our life, our journey is built on stories. It's built on experiences. And I always tell people, I'm not in the cigar business. I'm all about experience. And having, like, you tell that story 10, 12 years, I'm sure you're going to tell the same story 10 years from now, and it'll be 20 years. I hear these same exact stories from people like yourself that have been smoking cigars 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and it's the same experience. It's about being somewhere, finding something different, getting a little bit uncomfortable, not knowing what it is, but all of a sudden you're building that camaraderie, you get comfortable, you're enjoying the experience. So yeah, that's what we do. And we do a lot of weddings, private parties, client appreciations, and all that stuff. But yeah, the cigar is just, like I said, it's just a thing that brings everything together. The full recipe is just right there. It's just enhancing the experience. And just that's why I was just like, man, you just answered my question.
Yeah,
that's exactly the reason why I do it, and that's why when people ask, like, why did we do this, and I ask, have you smoked before, and I ask them the same exact question, can you tell me your first experience? And they just go through that, and then you see them laugh. They're like, oh yeah, my boy, he didn't know how to smoke, blah blah blah. I'm like, that's the reason why I do it.
Yeah, and
you just really sold you on why you should do it.
Yeah,
why this is why we're successful at it, is because I'm really understanding that particular thing. It's about the experience. It's about the experience. It's about the experience.
And I think that's powerful, Joey, because when you start to look at, I could tell you, and again, those, there are individuals at different stages, right? Like, I'm not one that has a humidor in the house or any of those things. Like, that's not what I do. But if I go to the lounge, for me, it's one of those, like, I wouldn't call it like a speakeasy, but it's almost like a flashback to a time where you just kind of were somewhere removed from that, right? You're not on your phone. You're just there with people. And the experience, I think, is something that we're lacking a lot of times in life, right? Being able to just get together. Again, I don't drink like I used to at all at this point. But going to a cigar lounge, it's not about the drink either. You know what I mean? It's like literally there's something smooth in the glass. There's a cigar with it. It's an experience where we're sitting here as men in this conversation, for example, or with women as well. Just having a moment, being able to break bread, and that experience part, I think, is really what I think is missed by many. When you look at that, like, why would you go to this place? It's like Cheers, right? You just want to kind of go where everybody knows your name, where people know who you are, and you can kind of catch up a little bit. And then the interesting thing is not seeing someone for a period of time, and people say, hey, Joey, man, I ain't seen you in a long time. What's good with you? And literally, it's that catch up that happens where you don't have to be there all the time. But I think what you guys have done, being able to have that mobile experience coming to different venues and stuff, it's really creating that for many. Because for you guys, beyond that, the experience, and I want to do a quick jump actually now since we were kind of talking about it, right to the website. I just love this. I love this page because there's something else here that I want people to just respect, which is the experience of what's happening, right? There's literally a rolling home, like you're literally creating something that many people will never do on their own or would be privy to, right? You may buy something at a store and it's kind of, nice gift set, but what you guys are able to do in creating this experience, hence again, delivering a world-class cigar experience, and having this, talk to me a little bit about the events and weddings and kind of what that looks like. For those that are interested, it's the mobilecigarlounge.com. You know it when you hear these gentlemen in the background doing things and rolling something. It's amazing just seeing this. Talk to me through this, brother.
So I love what you said. Just going back to when you go into a cigar lounge, the cigar lounge or cigar bar is like the last. I don't know if it's am I overlaying?
You're good.
Oh, I'm good. Okay. Going to a cigar lounge or cigar bar is one of the last few places where you can actually socialize. You know, it's actually when you sit down, like DP, if you, me, Eric, Frank, I'm just calling out people from our group, sit down and there's four of us. We have a nice glass. We have a good cigar. It's kind of disrespectful, bro, if you're on your phone and we're having a good discussion. Mind you, we totally get you got family, you got a business, but we're there to enjoy the moment. And that's why I love what you said about that. So fast forward to this, it's all about respect. Something about the cigar is it takes an average of 300 pairs of hands from start to finish of when a cigar is made.
Really?
The amount of time, the cultivation. That's there's a famous cigar called 300 Manos, which is 300 hands. It's a respect to the people that actually make it, because something that is you gotta continuously feel the cigar. You gotta continuously make sure that it's growing properly, because the only ingredients that you're looking at is basically sun, earth, and water. Because they don't want to add anything else. It's about the perfection about the leaf. You know, the pureness of it. So going back to the website where you see us rolling, you see those leaves, we're showing a sign of respect to those leaves. We're showing a sign of respect to people who are doing it. Because not a lot of people could actually see a cigar rolled from start to finish. And it's one of the last handmade items. There's not a lot of handmade items nowadays. A lot of it is machine made. A lot of it, you know, it's totally different now. Having something handmade and understanding the process gives you a whole new respect. It's just, for example, me and you, DP, we have a 12-year single malt. We have an 18-year single malt Scotch. We're not shooting it down. You're sipping on it. You're relaxing. You're giving the respect it needs, because it took 18 years in a barrel to come in what we're enjoying today. So going back to this is what it's about. It's about the respect and the love of the art. And I know it's kind of deep, right? I know.
No, but
Marine.
No, like, wait a second. What are you doing here? You're too deep on me. You're philosophical. You're creative. But this is awesome, because again, this goes back to being more than what people would expect, right? Again, because most folks wouldn't think about this, but I love the fact that some of the events that you are hosting and working with from a wedding perspective, the experience tobacconist, 2 hours of service, beautiful display, individual take-home bags, cutters, lighters, custom band. Again, back to your point, from the wedding side or special event side, if what we're able to create is a special moment. Again, you won't remember what you drank, you won't remember but you remember that we was there and Joey took that first puff and almost coughed a little bit, and we're laughing and we had a moment and we got a picture and we took it. That moment, I think, is really what's amazing about what we were able to kind of get to immediately, because there are going to be the connoisseurs who are going to want to get into the weeds of the details and stuff. But for mainstream individuals, this could be the segue into something that they never would have experienced or continue to experience afterward.
So watch this. I just got a text from we just did a wedding this Saturday. I got a text from the groom, and this is what he said. You guys kicked ass on Saturday. Huge hit at the wedding. I love hearing that stuff. You know, and I always tell him the biggest compliment you could give us is to not keep us a secret. You know, let people know the experience that we brought, the quality of our team, the quality of our service, and you know, we pride ourselves on that, because for us, customer service is like military. Mission first, people always. We take the same example and the same kind of like idea and put it into our business, which is why people like that understand it. And I love getting that. That was a message, and I messaged her fiance. I said, congratulations. You know, I wasn't there, but you know, I wanted to let them know I was walking them along the way.
Yes.
I handed it off to my team. We did a phenomenal job. Shout out to James and Scott. And then when they came back, everything, and then the wedding planner was saying, she's like, "Oh my goodness, that was a great hit and stuff." And this is
the crew right here, your crew.
Yeah. So from left to right, that's Alvaro. Him and I have known each other from 2006. We actually served the same unit together, and also we deployed to Mongolia, Norway, and Iraq. So I've known him since 2006. And Miley, the one to the right, We call him Smokey. I've known him since college, since 2006. We played rugby together. He joined the army and went to Afghanistan. He was the guy when he moved back here to New Jersey, or he moved from Texas to New Jersey when he got out. We started smoking every weekend. He actually kind of like showed a little bit of what the cigar experience was about.
And I want to also highlight for folks on Instagram, you'll be able to see here the Mobile Cigar Lounge as well on Instagram. Again, highlight to the fact, we saw it already, but for those, that really want to support businesses, you have 3 veterans here, literally kind of running an operation, 100% veteran owned and operated. And here you see some of the different experiences and just the look. Again, I just love the fact that here we're able to see just, again, the experiences, the moments. I might not know what's happening, but you can see in someone's face the moments that they're experiencing and so forth. So I love when we're having these conversations, because it's not just the picture, it's the moments that are really standing out to me, understanding how you guys are doing what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing, because those are the moments. There's a clip you also had for us to kind of bring up. You want to roll that one also, or you want to go to that one on YouTube as well?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, BP. Appreciate you.
Yeah, so this is honoring your tradition. Let's go ahead and take a look.
If there's one thing we learned in the military, we learned to celebrate every moment we have. From birthdays to traditions, no matter how little or how big, life is worth celebrating. Let us come to you. We honored our country. Let us honor your traditions. The Mobile Cigar Lounge.
Yeah, man, buddy. I love that.
You ready some fun facts?
Yes.
One is we actually created that video. It was me and Patrick. 2, the guy who actually who did the talking. He did the Marine Corps commercial.
Did he?
Yeah. So
okay, because the voice is familiar. Yeah.
It's like every country, or like or something. And then 3 is all those videos and pictures that were from every wedding that we've done.
Awesome.
So,
wow.
So it's just a testament. Every time I watch that, it's just, and that's for us. It's just preparing, right? The event, and then we come to you. And once we get there, we kind of lift that burden of we're there to create an experience, and we just uplift everything. Like we're not there when we're there when everyone's like in a high, and when they're having a good time, like the night time they're like celebrating, they're having a good time. So it just emphasizes the experience. Yeah.
No, and I love that, because again, it goes to, like I said, the commercial is amazing. So I just love it. I think it just sends a clear message and speaks to the why of you all. But I think one thing I definitely want to highlight is, again, for those that are watching this, this is an idea born of an experience of service members coming together. So from the entrepreneurial side, I think an amazing thing to highlight is this is amazing. But for someone out there, Joey, what would you say were some of the things that got you to this point? Because I'm sure someone may be out there who has an idea, who has a experience or something they're passionate about, but they may not know how to put it together and create something, right? So given the fact that you've been able to take a concept, an idea, and actually make something of it as tangible, right? The Mobile Cigar Lounge is live. It is a thing. We saw a video, a commercial with live things that are happening. What would you say to someone out there who may be on day 5, right? Looking forward, saying, you know what, this is never going to get off the ground. I'll never be able to do this. It's good that you got it, Joey. You guys got it set up. Everything's great. You got a vehicle. You're mobile. I don't got any of that stuff.
That's exactly where I was 3 years ago, right? And so, some key tips I would love to share. One is do the work. You know, no one cares about your business except you. Like for example, there's going to be resources out there for you that you could access. There's people that you could access, but they can't do the work for you. They're not paying your bills. They're not building your business. You have to do the work. So, in retrospect, it's kind of like no one cares. You gotta do it, right? So I think that's kind of like circles back. You have to be honest with yourself. Mm-hmm. If you're not honest with yourself and you're like, hey, listen, I want to take this. Listen, I could create this business and be like, man, I just want to make an extra $5,000 a year. But to me, that's worth it.
Yep.
That's fine. And I always tell people, listen, that's whatever you're honest with yourself with, like, I want to just build a business where I can make an extra $5,000 to $10,000 a year. Mm-hmm. And there's people like that as wedding professionals. They just want to do 2 or 3 weddings, make $10,000, and they're good. And I take nothing away from that. But the challenge is, if you do the work mm-hmm. for $8,000-$10,000 a year and you expect to make a 6-figure company, you're lying to yourself. I hope that makes sense.
So I love that, because I want to just be able to talk about that. One quick point for those that missed it is understanding your why. And again, everybody says, you know, well, you know, Joey, look, I'll do this if nobody buys. I just love what I'm doing. Do you really? Be honest with yourself, because I'm not saying don't have aspirations, right? Let's keep it real. People have to make livings. You want to scale a business. There's tactics and things to do. But what gets you from an idea to execution to making a profit to scaling and going, you know, to other levels, it requires a reset at every level to be able to continue to grow. And it's not saying that you can't, but to your point, maybe the goal is I just want to be around people. I'm retired. I want to have a good time. And I just love what I do. And you know what? If I can make some money to get me from point A to point B and it kind of funds itself, I'm a happy camper. And that in and of itself is a successful business. Because I think sometimes we really start to put the word success, and we had this conversation in a clubhouse room about what is your definition of success. Well, it has to come to a place of what really is your value system. What's your quality of life? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Because for someone who retired, let's say, okay, I'll be that guy, right? I'm retired, disabled veteran. I don't really need to work, but Joey, I don't want to be cooped up in the house. I love being around people. I love some cigar. I love some whiskey. I want to be a part of this thing. Guess what? DP just comes because he just likes to be around people, and that for him is success. Whereas the next person maybe takes this and franchises it and builds a thing, but you know your why.
And then going back to just being honest with yourself, and then being real with yourself, right? Knowing your why and being real with yourself, because going back to, you can't build a 6-figure business just doing $5,000 to $10,000 worth of work. Doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. What you put in is what you get out, and that's very important. So I would say the first thing is, no one owes you a damn thing. You got to do the work, but you have to be honest with yourself, and that stems. I mean, listen, we could spend a whole time that talks about being authentic, finding your passion, finding your why. I mean, that whole stems, but hopefully, I'm just breaking this down. It's easy, like Mickey Mouse. It's easy. I would say my next thing is to think. So people always sometimes forget this, is when you're an E1, when you're an O1, or when you're that new NCO, you look up to people. You look up to your leaders. Like when you're in E1, you're looking up to your E3. When you're in E4, you're looking up to your staff NCOs and other like older NCOs. When you're a second lieutenant, you're looking up to your captain. When you're a captain, you're looking up to your majors, and so on and so forth. The same thing goes to this applies. Go and find someone where you could be in what's called your tribe, and find someone that's with you, that's kind of like going through the same thing, because you could build each other, and then find someone who's like 100 steps ahead of you, and finding that mentor. Because I think that's really going to help you out, is when you find that mentor or someone to help guide you. I always say this: you gotta save 3 things: time, money, and people. That person is going to be so easily accessible that all these ideas that you have in your head, you can easily be like, ask them, and they're like, no, I tried that, and this is what happened, and this is why it's not probably going to work out for your business. That's great. So one is, no one cares. You got to do the work. 2 is find a mentor. Think like an E1, right? You got to look up for those mentors. And then I would say 3, plan. You got to plan. Like, for example, when Marines had to go and take over a village, or Marines have to take over an intersection, or Marines have to take over a house, there's plans, there's tactics involved behind their strategy. Same thing goes with business. There are tactics needed to develop your strategy. Strategy could be, I want to build my marketing on Instagram. Your tactics are going to be, hey, you got to do some Instagram stories and all that stuff. There's a lot of things there that you have to understand, and that from the military. For the Marine Corps, it's BAMSIS. Begin the planning, arrange recon, meet recon, and then at the end, making sure that you supervise, or the 5-paragraph order. I think that's super important, and sometimes we forget that as veterans, but that's why we're here. And, DP, thank you again. It gives us the opportunity to speak about it, because you know what? I love talking about it, because someone that's watching right now will be like, wow, you know what? I didn't think of it like that. And then if you took the same thing that you've learned in the military and applied it to your business, you'll be successful. You'll actually be more surprised that more people don't do what you do. It's the craziest thing. Like, I do things where, we're 15 minutes early. We do this because it's all military thing. Like, oh my God, you guys communicate. You guys are always on time. Blah, blah, blah. But for us, that was the standard.
Right.
And for the civilian world, that's like you're going above and beyond. So you're already ahead of the curve. You just gotta deliver after that. So hopefully that helps. But that's simply put.
What for you personally was a challenge that you had early on that you worked through? Because I think also sometimes what I think people gain more benefit from are some of the setbacks and the challenges, right? Because you know how it is, right? Man, how did you get so successful? How did you do that? It's like, well, let me tell you about all the shots that I missed real quick, because that's kind of gave me some of the intestinal fortitude to push through. And those are the times, the things we don't highlight, because you know how it is. People don't want to flex or show, like, you know what? Here's a hard lesson that I learned, right? And again, some of those lessons are really just that, which are lessons. But I think just even hearing what are some setbacks or challenges you had, because then the second question to that is, how did you get through it? Which is obviously the main point of the question of a setback, because for someone out there, they may encounter a setback and not have the intestinal fortitude to push through because, hey, I just lost this, or this didn't work out, or it was supposed to, and I'm by myself as an entrepreneur trying my hand at this, and whoops, there goes everything.
So here's the Marine Corps common terminology. You get ambushed, you push through. There's a wall. There's an enemy behind that wall. You got pushed through. Same thing in business. Someone asked me this question. What was kind of like one of your biggest challenges? And I thought about it, and I really did think about it. I was like, what is my challenge? The thing is, like, everything was a challenge, but I always had to find a solution one way or the other. So I think my biggest thing, which hasn't happened yet, if I looked at a challenge and did nothing about it. And I knew that it was something. Hey, listen, have I had challenges and what they call AKA failures? Absolutely. But the thing is, I don't think of it as failures. I think there's some of the term is called failing forward. I learn from it. I will never do it again. I push on. That's it. So when same thing, DP, I always love that question, because I always truly try and think about what was the biggest challenge. Man, today I could find every answer. For example, I could go on Google, YouTube, find the answer. we belong to a Facebook group together. I had a question, I answered it. I had a question. People said, "Hey, I can answer it." I reached out to them. I got my answer. And these were these quote unquote challenges. So every time I see a challenge, it's not really like I just find the solution. You got to find the solution. I think those are two things, DP. We should write a book on it. What's a successful entrepreneur? One is being quick at putting out fires. So quickly, there's something that's happening. You see a little fire happening in your business. You quickly put it out. Too many people are just waiting for that fire to grow, and then boom, it's done. The second thing is being able to create solutions to your challenges. And I think those two things, it will make you a successful entrepreneur. If you can do honestly those two things, how to solve challenges and how to put out fires quickly, let me tell you, you'll be the most successful person out there, because those are really what business is all about. Of solving problems and putting out fires. Everything else just falls in place. You can basically put that. Marketing. Yep. Finding problems and putting out fires. HR. Same thing. Product development. You don't have a product, it's not working. Well, you got to keep figuring it out until it does work. If not, then you have to curb it, and at least you tried. So it's like...
It's military too, right? That's basically what we did. We adapted and overcame, right? We found challenges, and and that's why I think it goes back to the first thing you said, right? So to go really military here, we have tactics and techniques and strategy. Now, right, regardless of what you did, we can train all day on breaching this door. That's the tactic, right? Joey is going to go ahead and be the breacher. I know my spot in stack, and we're going to go ahead and move. The reality is that when it hits the fan and you're in country and things are going, we know how to operate together, but we have to be agile to know, wait a second, there's no hall over here. The hall's, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to adapt to the terrain and be able to move. We know that we know the techniques. I got your 6. We can move and operate, shoot, move, and communicate. However, we have to be open to what's happening. Yes, this was supposed to go this way, but seldomly does that ever happen. Operations don't go as planned, but then we adapt and overcome to what's happening. So to your point, yeah, something didn't work, but if you know your why and you know why you're doing what you're doing, it's just another lesson. Because again, it's also perspective. It's intention, right? I know that I'm going to do something. Me and Joey are going to come together, have a conversation, and create value. I don't have an expectation of what's going to happen. I know that we're going to create something. And I think if we start to look at that, what we start to do, again, same, pun intended, is we begin to enjoy the experience and the journey. Because it's not just, here comes Joey with the Mobile Cigar Lounge. What's the ending of it all? We had a good time, party's over. No, it's the experience. It's the moment. And I think sometimes we forget and lose being in the moment, being the experience, and going through all that, because it's like, oh, I did all this stuff, but I didn't really focus and enjoy the moments, right? Like, think about service. Man, those were the good old days. But did you enjoy the days? Or did you just think about ETSing and getting out? You know what I mean? Like, we all sometimes just lose focus of the bigger picture of what should happen, especially in business. It's like, this is a lesson. There's something that I'm supposed to learn out of this. Are we going to get upset? Yes. Am I going to blow my top? Of course. Was the product not the way it's supposed to be? The specs didn't come through correctly. Have the emotional moment, reset. What's the lesson here? Where's the errors to be fixed? Because it's not to say, oh, you're not fazed by things. No, we're human. We deal with those things, but we understand how we encounter all those things that are happening.
And DP, I love, and when we talk about like tactics like CQB or whoever's listening, close quarter combat or battle, and then you look at seeing smooth, let's say, Navy SEALs, Green Berets, and how they smoothly clear a house. The thing is, we see that perfect product, but you don't see the hours behind of getting there.
Boy,
like even for the regular grunt or wherever job that you did in the military, for some of us, even going down to the cook or the radio operator, they could do things like with their eyes closed. You could give a rifle to a grunt and he'll be able to break down that rifle. But before that person was so improficient at it. It just took all that time. But it's the same thing with business. No one starts off as an expert. You just go through the journey. You gotta go through the experience. You gotta go through the motion to get to that final product. So people think just because they see us and they're like, wow, man, that's awesome that what they guys do. Well, first off, you don't know about the long nights. You don't know about the training, the reading, the jumping through hoops, the dealing with clients, customers. I mean, listen, we got stories. I mean, there was a point where I think, like, even for example, where there were challenges that came up, but we had to find solutions immediately, put out those fires immediately, because that's what our training that we learned. That's why I'm like, a veteran that goes into the entrepreneur space, they have so much tools in their shed to become successful,
and they don't even know it. And sometimes they don't even know it.
You know what's funny? People go to business school to learn what they know.
Say it one more time for the people in the back who couldn't hear you.
People go to like these big schools to know what you know from through the military.
It's a fact.
Away from them.
It's a fact.
Away from them. But they learn about leadership. I mean, listen, you have to go to these different schools to learn about like blockchaining and all that stuff. But to learn about leadership, to learn about being resilient, fortitude, all that stuff. People go to school. People pay other people to get that same experience, like through virtually or going to some summit or something. And we did it sometimes either for 4 years, 6 years, 20 years.
Oh, it's the truth. I'll make it even more real. So, fun fact, DP fun facts. So, I also am an adjunct professor at a university. So, I'm a graduate of the Marine Corps Command and Staff College with a master's in military studies from there. So, that was part of that. I also have a cybersecurity one and taught in emergency management. I'm retired counterterrorism law enforcement. I'm saying that to say that those are all the accolades that are on paper, right? All these things. Because of that, hey, we're teaching an emergency management first responder, course. We'd love you to teach the leadership course and then the resiliency course. No problem. Give me the syllabus. I can teach it. 80% of what I'm talking about all came from service. Don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about leadership all day, and we could have a conversation about technology and first responders and all these. All the basics that I'm giving to you here came from another place called service, which is really what led us to many of those other things that we've done. But it's the truth. People go, and again, it doesn't take away because you have to, check the boxes if that's the path that you're going down. But for many leaders, when they're trying to get in a room with people that have done amazing things, think about it. That's why you see a lot of the military folks are doing things that are amazing in the world, like the Jocko Willings and like the Steve Coons and the Humble Alpha book. Like, if you think about it, it's the fundamentals that many veterans have. And I think if we have in this conversation, to me, it's what's needed, because it's not so much about plugging the Mobile Cigar Lounge. It's saying that, no, look at the fact that, like Joey said, we got deep into an experience that is his business. He understands it. He understands the why, which answers all of the, why are you doing this? What's your passion? What gets you? All those things were answered because of understanding the business model, what he's doing. But beyond that, it's not so much that a Marine is doing this. It's that he took the skills that he learned in the Corps, in service, and has applied it to a business model in tune with his passion. And that's what I want folks to be able to see, that it might be a knick-knack, it might be a trinket. Let the market decide for the market. I think oftentimes what happens is this: that ain't never gonna sell. Ain't nobody gonna come to your thing. Well, first of all, how many people told Michael Jordan that he was never gonna make it? Like the markets needs to decide, right? And think about it, and this is a fundamental truth from a mindset perspective. She's never gonna give me a time of day. She'll never like me. She's my wife today. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you think about every single time you try to make a decision for somebody, the question is this: don't do that. Let the market decide. The market is the market is the market. If the market likes what you are doing, they will tell you. Your product sucks, the market's going to tell you. You got two options: shut down your business or reset. Because again, let the market decide. Many of us have already defeated ourselves before we even try to do something because of what we think is going to happen or someone's going to say, and that's not the reality. You have to try, because sometimes it might be a failure that leads to the success, but you wouldn't know unless you took this step forward.
And DP, this is just getting deep, right? People play that movie in their head without ever coming to fruition, and that's what stops people. And the people that actually become successful is like, screw that movie, I want to go for it, And man, that you can go as deep as that, but just listening to and going back to the fundamentals, man. When I was at the opportunity to play some D1 rugby over at my college, and some D2 and some men's clubs teams where we got to travel with, different countries and stuff and play. And I remember this coach saying, he goes, what separates a D1 player from a D3 player is the D1 player masters the fundamentals. Rugby is just basically attacking the ball, supporting, tackling. Those are the fundamentals of playing good rugby. The thing that separates a D1 from a D3 is a D1 player has mastered those things. And then you can get into the other stuff. But I like to say that because there's some people that, a lot of military cats here that are watching are also athletes or played some sort of sport. So you got to think about that too. And when you talk about your business, mastering those fundamentals of easy marketing. If sometimes we overthink things, but it's just be just the basics. You master the basics, you could definitely go to another level. So yeah, I want to point those things out.
But I think that's a good point, and so let's take a quick segue there, which is the fundamentals come with something that I think many people at times neglect, which is coaching and mentorship and partnerships. You played sports. We're in the military. You didn't just walk in knowing how to shoot. There was an instructor, right? You had a drill instructor to teach you something for proficiencies. You are playing sports. You have a strength coach. You have a shooting coach. You have a fill-in-the-blank coach for those things at high professional levels, right? Again, what separates that is the fundamentals. They're hammering in the fundamentals. We want the secret tactics of advanced movements. I'll tell you, again, even when it comes to tactics in the military, I was in counterterrorism, breaching room, it's the fundamentals of the tactics, the fundamentals, the basics. Guess what? Speed shooting, holster, grab, grip, sight, point. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, what you don't see is the 10,000 hours of being on task. So when you get down to it, guess what? It's just a whole lot of repetition of that right there behind gunslinging. There's nothing fancy about it. Yeah, we can talk about stuff, but it's literally just doing that same movement just with proficiency and speed over time. It's the basics. There's nothing crazy of like, well, how do you squeeze? You squeeze a trigger. That's how you shoot a gun. You squeeze the trigger. But you start to put the fundamentals of breathing, sight, trigger squeeze, all these things coming in together, the same thing in anything else. In business, what are the fundamentals? What are the things that you're doing? And understanding that it's in our benefit to find others to help us. Like you said, you have a question, you reach out. Because then what many of us think at times is, I can do it myself. And the reality is, no. You can have a coach. You can have a mentor. You can ask someone else who's done something, because that's the basics.
And I think that's why it put me at a greater advantage when I got into when I started transitioning out. All my life, probably since like third grade, let's just say, I've always had some sort of mentor, whether it's through music, athleticism, sports, academics. I've always had someone mentoring me, which is why once I transitioned out, I still seeked out that mentorship. And, for those of us that could possibly align with our stories that we're talking about, same thing. People go to their pastor because they want something. They want something for their faith, or maybe for their marriage, or for some guidance. People go to a trainer for physical mentoring. Financial coaches for finances, business coaches for business. I mean, listen, you can find a coach for every part of your life, but don't forget, that's what made you here today. What's the boot camp? We had our instructors, our shooting instructors. We had all that stuff. That's why we have to hammer it all the time. Do not forget what you learned from the military. And sometimes we take that for granted. But then we got to remind ourselves, listen, I learned how to shoot because of those. What was that? Smooth is fast and fast is smooth.
Yep.
About the correct sight picture, correct sight alignment, mastering the basics. I tell people, if you can shoot a 22 and hit center mass, you could shoot any rifle, because it's basically, the 22 is just basically, just the fundamentals.
Yep.
And then if you master the fundamentals, you can shoot very well. So, I love how we're giving all these examples, because that's what makes it relatable. That's what makes us relatable, because these are what we took to make our business or our life successful in our ways, in more than one.
I love it. And for some that might be thinking, like, I think using examples that people can relate to, whether it's gunslinging, whether it's, training or fun, whatever it may be, the basics are the same no matter what we look into doing. But sometimes people can get really big and strategy and very, big picture. And it's like, make it real, make it tangible to me. So being able to have these conversations like this and using examples from service, using examples of gunslinging, whatever it may be, it's literally what's made the difference for us to be able to apply it tactically, which hopefully someone else can look at this and say, okay, that kind of makes sense. And being able to reach out and just be real, right? Because the fact of the matter is, it's okay to not be completely okay with stuff. It's a learning process. Right. Like, for example, I love one story you shared, Joey, if you can. The Mobile Cigar Lounge, when you first started, did you have a decked out vehicle to move from point A to point B?
Nope. Like, it's just moving into it. And, sometimes I love it. Sometimes you're building the ship as it's sailing. Sometimes you're building the plane as it's flying. But we're making it happen, and you're the captain of the ship. You're guiding it. So yeah, those things. It was just like our business plan, and you can talk to any business owner. The business plan that they started with is totally different where it is today. So don't ever. All right, adapt and overcome. You're continuously moving, just like when you're adapting to the enemy, you're adapting to what they're doing. You got to change tactics. You got to change strategies. Same thing with business. You got to move. You got to shake and move.
Well, look what's happened now. Look what's happened now. Many people who were not able to pivot with the pandemic to a virtual environment. The fact of the matter is, things are going to come up that you need to be able to pivot. So being flexible to that. One question, Joey, for you. What is one thing that folks would not know or think that Joey likes to do or is a part of? Because again, now we painted the picture. Joey definitely likes some cigars. He likes to drink. He has a mobile cigar lounge. You play some rugby. You're a Marine. The guy doesn't take excuses. He's going to push through and make it happen. But what's one thing that folks would not think that the ex-rugby player, Marine veteran, owner of the Mobile Cigar Lounge does or likes or has an affinity towards?
I secretly, I was just talking to someone who owns a dance studio, and I secretly enjoy the arts.
So you're saying you have a call, the music calls you and your feet start tapping.
Yeah, I do have a background in music because I did play instruments from 3rd grade all the way to 12th grade, and and it was great. I got to play different levels. I didn't go that super high, but it was great as in a public high school career. But I do enjoy the arts. I do enjoy dancing, especially when I get to really understand it. I love asking questions about it. Sometimes I look at paintings and art, and I'm just I'm awed by it, and I could. That's why I look at photography sometimes now, because wedding professionals on Clubhouse are photographers. I look at their pictures, and when I listen to them talk about their pictures, how the vibe is, the colors, the vibrations, the senses, and it's just a freaking picture. But I sit there and I'm just like, wow, that's beautiful. But listen, don't get twisted. I like my whiskey. I like my steak. I like my cigars. But I enjoy,
the arts.
I enjoy classical. Yeah, I enjoy the art. And you know what? I guess just it goes back to the respect of the cigar and the whiskey. Because when you think about that, you think about the arts, and the arts comes in different forms of music, food. Obviously I love food. But yeah, if there's something you didn't know about Panda, I do enjoy. I'll sit down and I was talking to the lady. I was I love watching contemporary dancing of a high level. There's a certain elegance to it, and there's a lot of movement that kind of trigger, I guess, emotions.
Yes.
And so when I watch it, I'm just like, wow. So I like to have someone explaining it to me. So because I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
But then when they explain it to me, it's just like a cigar. I was people just smoke it and don't even know the history or why it's a cigar. But when you quickly understand it and you get a better in-depth meaning about it. So I like exploring those things.
Well, I think really, inadvertently what that has answered is also the key to your success, which is curiosity and learning. when it's all said and done, it's literally not, hey, I know everything, but this is something new. And like what you said, again, is a testament to what you said before. I want someone explaining it to me, but really I want someone to teach me. I want you to teach me what exactly you're seeing. I just see a picture, but you're telling me palettes and feelings and emotions and vibes. Please teach me how you're seeing what you're seeing. And that in and of itself, I think holding on to that curiosity of doing things is what can continue to growth and can lead to success and all the other things that are happening. So everything that we've talked about really, again, kind of summarizes into that, where here's something completely out of your league, something completely that you're not, or people wouldn't imagine that you have an affinity towards. But the fact that, like you said, hey, I love it. It's interesting to me. I don't understand it, but I want someone to explain to me, AKA teach me, mentor me, train me.
You know what's funny, man? I've listened, and when you get into that state, bro, there were times where I look at a picture and they explain to me, and you tear up. And that's a picture. Like, it's just a still picture, and they explain to me. They tell you the story behind it. They tell you why, the reasoning. It could just be a picture that you could easily flip through. You hear the story, and like I said, that's something, because you know what, when you do that, you get to experience a lot of different things, like humility. You get to experience a lot of I can't even think of the word, but yeah, I've sat and I've listened to someone talk about a picture, and the whole room is just tearing up from a picture. How powerful that man. So that's why I like watching those things. So that when I talk about experience, because we're in a whole, like with our Instagram, and each other on Instagram, we're on a whole new different level now, because I'm already booking something to take pictures, because I want our pictures to scream out. Like, when you look at the picture, you know exactly what emotion you should be feeling. You know, so yeah, I just wanted to share that.
No, I love that. I love that, because I think it's powerful. And again, it's a good kind of point where, again, there's so many things that we can go and talk about. But I think this is a great introduction to you, Joey, what you're doing over the Mobile Cigar Lounge, which, again, motivation to me comes in different ways, because some folks need to hear this. Some folks need to hear, like, look, you know exactly what you need to do. Lean into this. You know what I mean? Give yourself a chance. Have some mercy with yourself. But I want to do a quick recap again for those to make a point that they know. It's the mobilecigarlounge.com, where you will find amazing information. Here, I'm just scroll down to the testimonials, the faces, the laughs, the experiences, the ability to have these memorable moments over on Instagram as well at the Mobile Cigar Lounge. You'll find amazing information at the very bottom of the page. Obviously, you'll have all the other social media links for those that might want to check out the Facebook, the Pinterest, the LinkedIn, and so forth, to include the next event booking, finding out information, and finding out more about what you and your team are doing, which is, again, amazing. I just think, again, what you guys have done, being able to tell your story, come together, create special moments, really, for folks, that lasts. And all in all, like I said, Joe, you know, I mean, we're doing amazing things as is, but I think being able to have folks get a little more of you and find out what you're doing, kind of what drives you. You know how it is, right? We trailblaze, we do stuff, but we don't want to talk about ourselves. And sometimes it's good to just kind of sit back and, hey, let's get to know the panel a little bit here and kind of, you know, get some background information on them. So I appreciate you being open and just sharing of yourself and dropping, you know, the nuggets you've been dropping this entire, you know, segment.
No, bro, and that's why I love sharing our story, because I've sat in rooms, either virtually or in actual physical rooms, where someone's story, I've listened and it really touched me in terms of inspiration, motivation. So for veterans that are out there, or even like civilians, share your story, man. It's so important. And DP, thank you so much for doing this. Because you know what? If we could just change, if someone who's listening and it could just motivate one person, man, this whole, I don't know how long we've been on, but this whole, like, say, hour was worth it.
Definitely.
You know? Was worth it. So thank you again, DP. You have been nothing but a great host. I know. I feel like if we were sitting down in a lounge together, I'm sure this is the bad part about Landon. You and I can sit in a lounge, and before you know it, our ladies are texting us, and we're like, oh my gosh, 2 hours, 3 hours, yeah.
You were supposed to be home 3 hours ago.
Yeah, and we're half mile deep,
Yep.
smoking. But you know what, man? That's why I enjoy the cigar experience. It's just because you get lost in time.
Yes.
But not lost in it, but you're traveling in a way where it's like, I don't know. It's like capturing. And that's my artsy side. See, that's what happened. Like, we started talking about. But man, like I've had some of the best conversations over a cigar. So just going back, DP. Thank you so much. I appreciate you and the team over here.
Definitely.
I appreciate it. If you haven't already, please follow DP. Bro, thank you so much for giving us a chance to share our story, and plus to know a little bit more about each other.
Exactly.
I learned some things about you. You learned things about me. So it was nothing but true honor, my friend. So,
indeed, my brother. I appreciate you. You already know how we roll, man. So this is not the first conversation, and it sure won't be the last conversation. But we appreciate everyone joining us for a one-on-one Profiles in Audacity. Joey in the Mobile Cigar Lounge and his team doing amazing work. We'll be back. Joey, I appreciate you. We got more work to do, so we'll keep it going, my brother. I appreciate you, and we'll talk again.